This module will help you learn how to configure and customize SharePoint Search. In this module, we will learn how SharePoint Search works, understand search schema, learn how to work with managed properties, learn how to use query rules. Before we start customizing and configuring search, it's important to understand how SharePoint Search works. In this lesson, we'll learn about the various components in the SharePoint Search architecture. The crawl component is used to crawl various sources for content. The content processing component is used to extract data from the call data. The index processing component stores the data that is collected in indexes. The analytics processing component gathers analytical information and stores it in the analytical reporting database. The query component is responsible for interacting with the client and processing the query using the index data. In this lesson, we'll learn about SharePoint Search Schema. A crawl property is content and metadata that is extracted from an item, such as a document or a URL, during a crawl. A crawl property can be product name, product description, or price. To include the content and metadata of crawl properties in the search index, you map crawl properties to managed properties. Managed properties can have a large number of settings or attributes. These attributes determine how the contents are shown in search results. Users can only search on managed properties and not on crawl properties. To make a crawl property available for search queries, you must first map the crawl property to a managed property. You can map multiple crawl properties to a single managed property, or map a single crawl property to multiple managed properties. The search schema contains the attributes on managed properties and the mapping between the crawl properties and the managed properties. In this demo, we'll take a look at how to maintain search schemas in SharePoint. Let's open Central Admin by typing in the port number 2013. In the Central Admin, under Application Management, navigate to Manage Service Applications. This lists all the service applications within SharePoint. We are interested in the Search Service application. In our case, the Search Service application is named as Contoso Search. Let's click on that. Here, you can see the properties and the status for the Search Service application. Now let's move to the Quick Launch bar and click on Search Schema. Here, you can see the mapping between the crawled properties and the managed property. All the retail properties start with RET. Let's open retail base price, for example. In this case, the managed property name is RET base price, and the crawl property it's mapped to is OWS_RET base price. You can change the mapping, add a different mapping by clicking on Add Mapping and searching for a different property and adding it. Other than the mapping between the managed property and the crawl property, you can set up additional attributes that define the characteristics of the managed property, such as searchable. This enables the content to be searched. For example, if a part of the search query contains this attribute's value, it could be searched when the search property is clicked on. Queryable. When this property is checked, a search query can be performed against this managed property. Retrievable enables the content of this managed property to be returned in search results. Refinable. When a search result is presented and when this refinable property is selected, you can use the refinable property to filter the search results. Sortable. This allows the search result to be sorted based on the managed property. This shows how the search schema is managed in SharePoint. In this lesson, we'll learn about the various tasks a search admin can perform to maintain search configurations. Create override query rules, including promoted results. Create or override result types and display templates. Create or override result sources. Create managed properties. Create refiners. Request for a local crawl. Import-export configurations such as query rules, result sources, etc. In this lesson, we will learn how to use query rule to customize search results. Query rules can be used to vary the search result based on specific condition. The main components of a query rule are a query condition, a query action, and a publishing option. A query condition defines when a query has to be fired. A query action defines what has to happen when the query rule executes. The publishing option defines how long or when a query rule has to be active. In this demo, we will see how to change the results of a search query using query rules. Let's start by searching for something. Let's search for a Surface tablet. Now, when I search for Surface, it brings me mouse, and I want to change the result to bring tablets. Or if I search for an iPad, there are no results returned. So instead, I want to change the behavior of the query to bring me tablets when someone searches for iPad. Let's see how to do that. Let's click on the gear icon, go to Site Settings, and under Site Collection Administration, open Search Query Rules. Here, you can select a source for the search query. In our case, let's select Default. And you can see all the query rules for the result source. You can click on a new query rule to create one. I have one that is already created and is inactive. So let's go and take a look at that. You can provide a name for the query rule and also a condition when the query rule has to execute. In this case, I have set it to execute when a query matches the keyword exactly, such as iPad, Kindle, or Surface. You can also promote certain results when a query rule is executed. For example, if someone searches for a Surface, you can show a promoted result such as a tablet special, which shows a banner similar to this one. You can also change the behavior of the search query. In this case, when someone searches for an iPad, Kindle, or Surface, I want the query to search for tablets instead. Under the publishing section, you can set up when this query has to be active. You can either click on Is Active or give a start and end date when the query has to get active. Let's go back to the previous page and click on Make Active. Okay. Now let's go back to our page. And search for iPad again. This time, you can see that it brings up the tablets when somebody searches for iPad. I can search for Surface. And you can see that it no longer brings the mouse, and it brings instead the tablet results. Now, it still doesn't show the promoted results. To show the promoted results, we need to do one more thing. Let's go ahead and edit this page and add a new web part by clicking on Add a web part here under the center. Here you can see the different web parts that are available to be added to this zone. Let's click on Content Rollup and Content Search and add a Content Search web part. Once the web part is added, let's click on Edit Web Part to change the properties for the web part. I want the web part to show only one result, and I want it to use the list control template. But I'm going to change the item template to best bet item. Also, I can go under settings and change it to use special terms. Let's give that a try. Let's make sure the query is set correctly. Let's change it to default and click OK. And click OK again. Now you can see the 30% off. Let's go ahead and save the page. And you can now see the promoted results, which shows the banner for the 30% off as well. That's how you can use query rules to add promoted results to search queries, as well as change the behavior of a search query. In this module, you learn how search works in SharePoint, how to use search schema, how to work with managed properties, and how to use query rules. I will see you in the next module, where we'll talk about Commerce Runtime.